Hi everybody.
Hi.
We're back again. We're back again with one of our discussions, and today we are honored to host our team from Burundi. So I'd kindly ask them to introduce themselves because I see we have is it two members here? So Emmanuel, if you would like, please introduce yourself and the organizations that you work with.
Yeah. Hello, Judy. I'm Emmanuel from Burundi. I'm one of the team of the Burundi team. So I'm with another Emmanuel. We are two Emmanuel here. So.
Okay, very, very happy to have you here. Would you like to tell our viewers, what kind of organizations do you work with?
Okay, so currently I'm the vice president of an organization called Youth Empowerment and the Leadership Initiative. It's a youth-led organization that empowers young people on issues that affect their lives for positive change, peace, and the prosperity in Burundi.
Okay. Well, we're happy to have you here with us. So to begin with, since this discussion is focused on the Sustainable Development Goals and your experiences implementing them in Burundi, we would like you to first tell us how well aware are the young people in Burundi of the SDGs? How conversant are they with them?
So, but in my organization also, we are working on implementing SDGs. So we have already just run some workshops, and we focus on because now in Burundi we have priorities. Among the list of 17, we have priorities in Burundi, SDG 1, 2, 4, 13, 15, and 16. So this is our priorities in Burundi. So they have chosen those priorities because those were challenges on the last MDGs. So and then they decided to focus more on what we didn't accomplished. So now in Burundi, my organization is, as I said since before, is an organization that empowers young people on issues that affect their lives. So we more focus on job creation in my organization. So we are just empowering young people on entrepreneurship to enable them how they can start doing their businesses. So this is a major challenge here in Burundi because as a current situation, I mean the political conflict, many young people have been manipulated because of the unemployment. They don't have access to employment, and then it's very easy to manipulate them. So that's why now we are more focusing on job creation. So we also empower young people on how they can do, value chain agriculture. So we have adopted a technical that we are using now, urban farmers. So there are some. It's also being implemented in Kenya. It's a technique from Kenya, Mazingira Institute. So now we are trying to also helping young people from urban areas to adopt those techniques. Yeah,
Okay.
for the time being in my organization, this is what we have already doing. We have already done. Yeah.
Okay. So not to cut you short, but you've just mentioned a couple of things in your answer there, and I would like us to go through what you've just mentioned. So you mentioned that your organization mostly focuses on entrepreneurship to drive development. I'm just wondering, because we had this discussion some time back with one of our young leaders on Twitter about social entrepreneurship. So when you say entrepreneurship here, what kind of businesses are you encouraging or helping the youth with? Uh, you know,
Yeah.
what kind of businesses are we talking about here?
Okay. So in our entrepreneurship program, we are just focusing on two areas because there are young people who are in the phase of starting universities, and there are some who still in schools. So we outreach young people through focus groups. We have created a different kind of focus group in schools. So through those focus groups, I mean, young people who still studying, we are just giving them, I mean, initiation to entrepreneurship, so that during vacation they can do something, like, because we can start from zero. We can, if you have an idea, you can start an initiative in your community and doing something that can provide, some means which can help when you are back to school. This is, I mean, the first phase initiation to entrepreneurship that we just offer to young people who still in school. But there is another phase, young people who are in transition period from school, from high school, waiting to start the university. Then we are also giving them a package of entrepreneurship. I mean, we empower them. I mean, there is a model that we are using, like transformation for development, and we also giving them another module for financial skills, financial management skills. So when they are starting their business, I mean, when they are starting, this helps them on how they can manage while doing their business. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay, just to make it clear, so are these services for your organization easily accessible to young people in Burundi? Do they have to pay for them?
Yeah, normally our service is free. We offer, free, services, but young people who attend our program are selected. We must we first start by sending application form, and selected attend our program. So we have criteria that we are using, because entrepreneurship is not something that everybody is attending because it's just seeing other people are attending, but it's a passion. So once you have that passion, it's very easy to follow. Even if the program can take a long time, it's easy for you to follow. And mostly we are just using those criteria for the young people who are in transition from high school to university. But for those who are in secondary schools, I mean, in the youth focus group that you are using, mostly for those who enroll to attend via focus groups, we just give them those trainings. Yeah. For the implementation of SDGs. So if I speak on behalf of the team is working with is working with the team is working with the UN volunteer, because Emmanuel is a staff of UN volunteer. So we are working together. So with UN volunteer, it's very easy to reach out. I mean, a big number of young people, because we can reach far. So the political that we are using now. I mean, first we started with organization who made the team. So organization who made the team, they already know, I mean, about the SDGs, and they are now training their members. So now what we need is to start holding workshops that will include youth organizations from and across the country, so that we can empower them on SDGs, and then they can go in their communities to teach their communities about the SDGs. So about the political environment. So Burundi, normally UNDP is the agency which is in charge of implementing SDGs. But because of what happened in Burundi, I mean the political situation, because I remember I talked to the country coordinator of UNDP, and he as an answer he responded to me that now Burundi is I mean the UNDP in Burundi is most focused on emergency and humanitarian because of what happened in Burundi. So, but they already know about what we are doing, and they are ready to support what we are doing. I mean, our action that we are taking. So, yeah, we do have a government support, because already in the team, I mean, within the team, we are with the youth ministry. We work with the youth ministry here in Burundi. Yeah. We are with the national director in the youth ministry. So he is part of our team. Yeah, we are supported by the government. Yeah, what is now needed? You know, first of all, SDGs is appearing like new things to most of young people. They are working via the organization, but they don't know what is it. So, what is needed now is, sensibilization, doing raising awareness among young people about SDGs and the capacity buildings. This is what can help to succeed, because they cannot implement things that they don't know. So first they must be trained and sensitized about that, and then implement them, because they have a package of knowledge about SDGs. The best way of raising an awareness is, the approach that we are already using of creating focus group, groups. I mean, this is the best way. From school, in school and out of schools. Another thing is using media. I mean, social media, radio. Yeah. So that's why we are thinking also to partner with some radio that will help us to spread those knowledges. Because even people, I mean, from the grassroots community, I mean, those rural farmers, they need to know about SDGs. They need to know SDGs in their language. So we need translation of SDGs. They should know about that. Because if you go and tell them SDGs, if they cannot lead at least themselves, I don't know if they can. But it's better if you give also to someone a copy and give him time to lead in the language you are teaching. Yeah, in schools we have already started working in a because we normally, since before we had an approach of using English clubs. English clubs is the best way of gathering young people, because gathering young people, if they have strategies, then we have set up a program of topics, expose via the program of English clubs. So this helps us to discuss and to make an expose among young people in schools. Then they understand, so that they can understand. So now we through religion, we are just learning how to work with the religious leaders. This is what we are in the process. Yeah, but in school we have already doing that, and out of schools in our community, and the young people are just collaborating.
Duro kakilan kansa.
Yeah, that's why we said they need, trainings. They need training on SDGs. They are they are helping in implementing SDGs, but they don't know, because they don't know about SDGs. But if you go and look what they are doing, they are contributing most in their community. But the trainings that they need is to know what they can wear and understand. I mean, they can do what they are. Because when they understand what they are doing, it can have more impact. So, what we need now, because we are planning to hold a workshop that we gather young people who work in youth organizations, who have branches in rural community, because here you can find an organization that is working in the whole country. So if we call one of, through those organizations, we call one representative it can help us to spread the message, because via their network, via their affiliation, they can spread the message. So now we are trying to prepare that workshop. I hope that we update you. We will update about the workshop that we are planning. And what are most needed in the rural community is to train them and to translate the SDGs so that they can well understand. Because this is a big challenge that we are having. Most those lead documents are in French and English, but they know how to read. Maybe they didn't or finish their school, but they know how to read. If you give them the document in their mother language, they can well understand. So I think this is the best way that we can use. I'm mentioning organizations that intervene directly in rural areas and the translation of our SDGs. We can use many approaches. Yeah, we can use like cultural things. This is, I mean, the culture that Burundian mostly use when they like to leave a message. They are using theater, they are using slams. All those are strategies that we can use. We have a presentation, I mean, in French. That we in PowerPoint, but it is in French. We can send it after and they see what was about. Young people are facing, I mean, many challenges. First of all, they need technical support.
Oh, it's my lucky day. I've got two Judys on the video.
I'm actually typing on my computer. And I'm using the other one on my phone. That's why.
I think we seem to have lost the connection there, which is a real shame. Well, I mean, if there is anybody listening, I would just say just now that there is a high-level political forum in New York starting shortly, and I think there is a live stream available for it. But I've asked African Monitor, who are present there, and will be presenting our initiative to those present, if they would be happy to do a live Google Hangout with us on the 18th, a week today, so that Judy and others in the team can ask questions to African Monitor about what the high-level political forum is about and how youth in Africa and the SDGs in Africa can benefit by it. I think it'd be useful and an eye-opener just to know what it is all about. So just to raise awareness for those who are still listening, and thanks for your patience. Those who are familiar with actually coming on to these Hangouts know that we tend to have technical issues, which is a real shame. We'll give Team Burundi another couple of minutes to try and get back online again. But what I would suggest, Judy, is that if possible we could actually just get these questions to other teams. I'm going to be sending out emails to all the individual teams. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have a bit of spare time, and it'd be useful to have a list of questions that we could send to all the teams.
I agree. I mean, I have like a list of questions here, so I'll put them together and probably we could send them out.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. I'm wanting to send a general email out anyway because I want to encourage all our team members individually or as teams to tell us what they're doing to empower and implement the SDGs in rural communities. So I think a list of questions like you've been asking today would be very useful.
Yeah.
But the thing about visual aids, I think we've raised that with maybe Cameroon, or I think it maybe have been raised in the chat. The visual aids is a good way of doing it because there are so many dialects, different languages, and it would easily lead to confusion. I think if there's misinterpretation of the
Yeah.
translation, and maybe visual aids is a very good way of actually empowering communities.
Yeah. They just mentioned something that I think is also quite interesting. Use of cultural strategies, maybe like theater and stuff like that. I think that would be probably good for, like, introducing them when like probably they're going to some of these rural communities and they need to sort of introduce the concept of SDGs, just like because the team just said that the probably the people at the rural communities, they're already doing some of these things that are actually contributing to development, but they don't necessarily think or view them as SDGs, maybe because they have no idea about the SDGs. So use of theater or maybe skits or something like just as the team mentioned, I think that would be a good idea to something to use when introducing the concept of SDGs to communities. What do you think?
I think it's a very good idea. I've seen the use of theatre in rural communities in Malawi, and I think the presentation I saw was on HIV/AIDS, and it was very effective. There was acting going on, there was music going on, and the message was very concise and clear. You didn't really need. I mean, the SDGs are complicated, I think. I mean, there's a lot of them, and a lot of targets within the SDGs. And as you and I know, we've been asking for very simplified ways of benchmarking and monitoring them, and nobody seems to be able to help in that. So I don't think the United Nations have actually put an awful lot of thought into how community-based organizations in Africa can easily benchmark and monitor the SDGs. So the other thing that I picked up on was the use of technology, and this is something that we're working on, as you know, with Nelson and Stephen, with their Design to Transform package. They are trying to implement a way of bringing technology to rural communities so that they can actually find out themselves about what the SDGs are about. I mean, there's my experience of learning is that if you're actually left, say, with a question, what are the SDGs, and then you've got the facility to find out yourself in your own way what they're about, then I think that's a very good way of learning, because there's nothing worse than actually, say, going to a community and giving them a presentation of the 17 SDGs and the targets and say, well, what do you think? You know.
Yeah, true.
Well, they're going to be people are going to be saying, well, how does it affect me? I mean, what do you want me to do about it? You know, so I think the empowerment is so important for rural communities where they actually find out themselves what the SDGs are about, but also what support is available from the CBOs, from other stakeholders in the area, locally, nationally, regionally, whatever, you know, what the government support is, you know, because it's no good just knowing about the SDGs. They also need to have ideas about how they can actually implement them as well. So yeah, technology is key, and ways of communicating are key as well.
Yeah, and one of the other things they mentioned, I think, is and I've seen it come up in many discussions, is like, how can we map the SDGs into what is already there in the communities, right? So it comes down to translating them into, not the language way, but translating them into a sort of language that speaks to the rural communities. So if it's agriculture, because like in most African countries, agriculture is a big thing. Like say in Kenya, how does that map onto the SDGs? In what ways can these two things be related, and so that the communities can feel that they're actually already, because they're already doing something towards towards developing their communities. So, but mapping these two things or linking them, I think that's something that the CBOs working in the communities need to think about.
Sure. Yeah, I agree entirely. I mean, the feeling I get at the moment is that if we're not careful, the rural communities are going to get left behind again in all this. So that's why our initiative is so important. And what's key is that the teams make every effort to work together. I know there are competing interests. You know, they're all going for their own grants to do their own work. But the idea of SDG 17 is partnership. You know, there has to be a degree of trust. They have to start believing that this is only going to work by our members actually starting to trust each other and work together. It's not an easy thing to do. And this sharing of ideas is very important as well. I mean, I know there's lots of activity going on all over Africa, and it's amazed me how reluctant all our members are in actually telling me what they're doing, as though they're trying to hide from others that this is what we're doing, but I don't want to tell you about it because you might get access to our sources of grants and our stakeholders, and that's not going to be very beneficial to what we want to do. So we've got to overcome that reluctance somehow in order to make the SDG 17 partnership work.
True. I think if we realize that we're all working towards the same goal, and if that is exactly what we want, like say we want our communities to be developed, to have access to all these resources, then by all means, I don't know why we couldn't work together,
No, well, I agree, but with somehow there's a barrier there we need to understand exists, and we've got to try and break down these barriers. Otherwise, it's going to be it's going to be lots of activity going on by lots of individual organisations, but this whole concept of SDG 17 is not going to work. So you and me and other sort of lead players in this process need to recognise that is an issue, and we've somehow got to overcome it. But I think we can start off anyway by sending this list of questions to all the team members and let them come back individually and as a team with their answers. I mean, there was some open discussion in the old group last night, in fact. I said, this group doesn't exist. And we need to encourage this open discussion amongst team members within a country and between countries as well, because I think it's very healthy. And the more people start speaking with each other, the more trusting and open they'll become with sharing their ideas.
Yeah, I agree. I think probably I'll come up with. I have lots of questions, but I think I'll reduce them to just 10, so that at least we keep them short and and easier for these people to send them. But it would be good to even compare notes, among the countries and see what each country is doing.
Okay, well, I don't think Team Burundi are going to come back, Judy. Never mind. I think we had a very useful chat with them, and we've had good 10 minutes conversation between ourselves since then.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we'll close the live hangout, and
Yeah, sure.
if you want to say anything to close it, I'll leave it to you just now.
Okay then. All right, fine. Uh, so unfortunately, we've had to cut short the discussion because of technical issues, I believe. But for a moment there, we had a good discussion with our team that is leading the implementation efforts of the SDGs in Burundi. So I'll just go through like recap what we've just talked about. Uh, Burundi says that one of the biggest challenges that the youth face in their countries is technical support, and that's I think they were going to mention more, but that is what they started off with. But they also stress the importance of collaboration. So we need to bring schools, the media, and religion, and bring all these people together and actually just collect the efforts of all the people that are trying to implement these goals. Then they also said it's important to translate the SDGs into a language that the rural communities can understand. So does that mean translating them into their local languages or using other strategies such as theater or skits or music? So I think these are things that other countries that are trying to implement the SDGs can draw from. But as this we've been talking with Paul here, we're going to send out questions to all our country teams so that we can compare notes among these countries and see the progress and the challenges and the needs that young people are encountering as they try to implement the SDGs. So with that said, thank you very much for everyone who's been following, although we've had, technical issues, which we always do anyway. But so we're very grateful for Paul for setting up this hangout. Also very grateful for Team Burundi for making the effort to come and share their experiences of implementing the sustainable development goals in their country. And so we'll see you next time. On behalf of NAID team, I am Judianet Muchiri. Thank you very much.